So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our event, Startup Luxembourg Towards the Next Level. My name is Stephanie Silvestri. I'm Senior Startup Advisor at Lux Innovation, and it's my pleasure to be here today and to be your Master of Ceremony for this afternoon. It's really great to see that so many of you could made it to join us physically again here at the Lux Expo The Box. But we are not alone. No, there are more than 400 people apparently. I just heard from our events team that connected to our live stream and YouTube channel. So also welcome to all our loyal followers at home. It's a pleasure to have you, and thanks for joining us for this opportunity. As I said, it feels so great to have again a physical event, and I think it's worth mentioning that this is one of the first COVID-friendly events here in Luxembourg. So feel comfortable. You all passed the COVID check officially, I can tell you now. So also, of course, you can now remove your masks while you are in this room. We are all good. And I can't really express in words how good it feels to be again on stage in front of you and to have you physically here. And you know what? We definitely need to capture this moment. And therefore, I would suggest, if it's okay for you, that we all take a picture together. Okay? So, where's our social media manager? Marin, I need your phone. You get my notes, okay? I your phone. I think that's a fair deal. So, okay. Then, okay. Where are we? Here. Dear Minister, I need to have you on the picture, otherwise this doesn't make sense. Good. So, 1, 2, 3, smile. Perfect. Thank you so much. And now getting back to what we have actually prepared for you today. So we have a fully packed agenda. First, we will have the official launch of Startup Luxembourg. Afterwards, we will have the 15 selected companies on stage of Edition 11 or Fit for Start. And last but not least, of course, we will have the graduation ceremony of Edition 10 of Fit for Start. And of course, I will not be alone today on stage. No, I will be joined by quite a few people. And this brings me also already to our first guest for this afternoon. And it's a real honor to have him here with us today. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome with me the Minister of the Economy, Franz Fayon.
Thank you very much, dear Stephanie, for the warm welcome, and good afternoon to all of you. It is truly a pleasure to be here with you today and to have indeed a physical audience in front of me, and of course also a big hello and a warm welcome to the 400 people which are joining us online. I hope that very soon the proportions will be inverted and that there will be 400 people again in this room and maybe 80 online, but you never know. So I'm really happy to be here with you today with this startup community which has really, in a very difficult year, done extremely well. We have seen, despite COVID-19 and despite all the slowdown that has brought with it, some new startups creating it themselves in the year of the pandemic. We have seen 50 new startups over the last year, and we have seen also a number of new measures and new supporting measures and even new incubators coming up in the last year. This shows the resilience of this community. This also shows the innovation that is in the Luxembourgish startup ecosystem. The Startup versus COVID-19 initiative is a perfect example of this resilience. Through this program, 15 startups have developed solutions aimed at alleviating or overcoming the health, economic, but also the social consequences of the pandemic. And I remember very well when we were in spring last year during the first lockdown, everybody was pretty much panicking and asking themselves what would become of the economy, but also of the startups and the startup ecosystem. And I remember discussing with Sasha and also with my team at the Ministry of Economy what we could do not only to support startups, but also to use this creative power that is in this community to do something against COVID-19, which was back then even less known than it is now. So we decided to do a Fit for Start program specifically aimed at COVID-19, and we called it Startup versus COVID-19. This was one of several measures that we designed specifically towards the startup community, and I must say it was remarkably successful, with not only many startups reorienting their business model towards fighting the COVID-19 pandemic, but also many of them participating finally in this program. We had more than 200 applications, and we finally had about 15 to 20, if I remember well, startups that were selected for their very innovative ideas to fight COVID-19. We have, when we talk today about going to the next level for startups, it is always good to halt a little bit and to look back at the past year, to look back at what has been achieved and how it was done. We have come a long way, of course, since 1998, which was the date of the first incubator here in Luxembourg, the Technoport, the first publicly owned startup incubator, which is today, of course, a pillar of our ecosystem. And while looking back, I am satisfied to see that we now have a substantial community of more than 500 startups. The mapping done by Lux Innovation recently shows that they specialize in particular in 4 types of key technologies. It's firstly, big data and data science. Secondly, software and applications. Third, cybersecurity. And fourth, artificial intelligence. All 4 are, of course, backbones and absolutely crucial to the development of a data-driven, sustainable and competitive economy, which is, as you all know, the way we want to go in developing the Luxembourgish economy. The services and products developed by the startups are called upon by a wide range of sectors, but including, in particular, for up to 50% of the startups, the ICT sector, the fintech sector, and the health tech sector, all 3 of whom are, of course, very high on the list of our priorities when it comes to diversifying our economy. What is also very satisfying is that we see more and more promising young innovative companies that consider to drive their European expansion from Luxembourg and to develop their technology here. One major reason for this is that, in all modesty, the government support and business subsidies here in Luxembourg are better and more focused than in many other European countries. We also have a unique selling proposition as a small country, which is that startups benefit here from a very personal relationship, holistic support system, and accessible decision makers with a real commitment to facilitating business. The government is very strongly committed to supporting the ecosystem and wants to ensure a business climate where you all can flourish. For that purpose, we have put in place a wide range of organizations and initiatives that support startups and scale-ups, spanning from hands-on advice to R&D and innovation funding, events and networking initiatives, of whom I hope there will be more in the near future again, support with reaching international markets, and so on. In the early years, the public sector had the lead, but the private sector very soon followed suit. Today, Luxembourg has more than 15 incubators and accelerators, many of which are run by public-private partnerships. To support the development of startups, we are also consistently investing into our digital infrastructure. As a digital frontrunner, the country is well underway to become Europe's most trusted data hub. The most recent addition to this ecosystem is the high-performance computer Meluxina, which is designed to meet business needs, which makes it unique, and which is available for use not only by established and big companies, but also by SMEs and by startups. Today is also a special day because it marks the official launch of the Startup Luxembourg web platform. This tool has been developed by Lux Innovation to assist all of you who are part of Luxembourg's startup community. Now is the right time to accelerate the international promotion of Luxembourg as a startup hub, and that is one of the main objectives pursued with the creation of this platform, of which I will not tell more because this is the object of the speech that Sasha Bailey will give in a few moments. And finally, also, today is a very special day because we celebrate the startups that have successfully graduated from the 10th edition of Fit for Start, and we will discover the selected startups who will participate in the 11th edition, and I do look forward to their pitches, and please let me already congratulate all of them for their success. The acceleration program Fit for Start is, of course, one of our key instruments when it comes to supporting startups, and it has considerably helped raise Luxembourg's profile abroad. Since its launch in 2015, the program has received over 2,000 applications from startups created in more than 80 countries. The retrospective on the program will help us to take a step back and have a fruitful discussion about it. Dear entrepreneurs, I would finally like to take the opportunity to thank you all. You have all contributed to building this strong startup community, and I would like to thank you for your continued engagement. You are the actual engine that is driving our startup community forward. Your enthusiasm and success is an inspiration to others and a demonstration of Luxembourg's attractiveness as a startup location. This is the strength of our startup ecosystem. It is tight-knit, and all the different players work seamlessly together to guide startups to the right specialists for advice on every step of your journey. Altogether, we are now ready to enter the next level of development of our startup ecosystem. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, dear Minister. And you just heard it. Startup versus COVID was one initiative that was organized last year in 2020. And who could tell us more about it than the participants themselves? So we prepared a small video for you in order to listen to what they have to tell us.
The Startup with COVID-19 program enabled us to build a complete new app for micro SMEs, for small companies with less than 5 employees, to help them to better manage their financials, to make sure that they send the invoices at the correct time, to make sure that they pay invoices at the correct time, to help them do their business planning and just take a lot of financial pressure out of them.
When you go to the restaurant, instead of waiting physically, you stand at your card, you join the queue, and as soon as your table is ready, you'll be notified by your restaurant. So our next step is clearly the commercial phase. So we present in Luxembourg, but we have to continue meeting restaurant owners, and we are aiming also to go to Paris in order to enhance our reputation in a larger country.
Since the beginning of the program, well, we have been very affected by the crisis, like a lot of businesses here in Luxembourg, because we were delivering exclusively to offices, so our sales went down for the first time in our history. In the beginning of March, we launched the new fully integrated version of Fuso, which comprehends group lunch for the lunch service in companies, lunch home or dinner home or in the office as well. For example, lawyer offices which works until late and need to order food. And this lunch was very successful.
PeerSquare is a community learning app bringing learners together to connect, communicate, and trade knowledge. PeerSquare started during COVID. We ran a survey with more than 1,000 students to understand their needs in an online environment. And they asked for a space, dedicated space, where they can learn from each other and with each other. So COVID was the start of PeerSquare, but it is to live way beyond that.
Fantastic. And yes, you have heard it before. Today, it's the time when we are starting to accelerate, where we are lifting everything up to the next level. To tell us more about this ambitious project, I have the pleasure to welcome on stage the CEO of Lux Innovation, Sasha Bailey. Sasha, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Stephanie, and thank you, Minister. It's really fantastic to see you all here today. As we've just heard, it's been an intense period of having all these digital events, and now finally we can all come together in a more physical format, and it's just wonderful to see you all here today. And to have such a format, there's no better occasion than actually to do it with the startups, and to have that here today is extremely special. So as Minister Fayo just laid out, our startup ecosystem is still very young, but as we can see, it's thriving extremely well. And we've just seen in a video how much this entrepreneurial mindset and this can-do attitude of the startups is precisely what we need in these times of change and disruption. So as innovation agency, we are there to stimulate innovation and encourage companies to push their boundaries and to embrace change, so that they can become the economic champions of the future, so that their successes will be those that can showcase our country. A country, as the Minister just said, that is data-driven, competitive, and sustainable. So as innovation agency, we are also there to build the bridges, to facilitate interaction amongst companies, research and technology organizations, incubators, investors, business federations, the university, and the public sector. It's this kind of interaction that turns great ideas into reality. And a key part of this equation are the startups. They develop the solutions that meet the rapidly evolving expectations of consumers. They also come up with and develop solutions for larger companies that may sometimes have difficulties generating new ideas and may lack the agility that is part of the DNA of a startup. Hence, as an innovation agency, we attach incredible importance to fostering the startup community. And we help startups turn their innovative ideas into thriving business. So bringing all this together, connecting those dots and linking up the interesting ideas from startups, both Luxembourg-based as well as coming from all over the world, with the incubators here in Luxembourg that are looking for those precious pearls to whom they can offer solutions, the companies to whom they can offer solutions is what we actually do at Lux Innovation. And we also connect them to funding opportunities and help them get access to market. But I'm absolutely certain that we can do this even better by making use of technology. And that is precisely what we're going to be launching here today. So the team at Lux Innovation has been working intensively with the Ministry of Economy and with other key organizations here in Luxembourg that are there to support startups. They have been working to set up a digital platform that connects the relevant startups with the relevant players, partners here in Luxembourg. And it has been designed in a manner that allows us to grasp the precise and specific need of the startup and direct it towards the organization that is best positioned to meet these needs. So it's not just an internet platform, it is there to connect, and that's important. But there is no magic wand that can make this work. It has required a lot of scenario planning and data technology skills. So my colleagues presented me with the prototype just some weeks ago, and it was one of those moments when it really all just came together. All these expectations and ideas that many of us had voiced over the past years. It was really invigorating to actually see that it was really taking shape. So you can really imagine how excited we all are today to present it to you here and now. But before doing so, there's something really important that I'd like to say. This is not a Lux Innovation website. This is a digital platform that belongs to the entire startup community. Lux Innovation has devised it and will also manage it, but it can only function if all of those for whom it has been made adopt it, truly adopt it, and make it their own. This means not only using it by placing your content on it or by interacting with each other via this platform. It means giving us feedback. It means telling us what works, and it also means telling us what's not working. It also means coming up with new ideas and suggesting on how we can make it evolve. We need you to help us do this. You, the startuppers, and you who have worked with startups and understand their needs and their challenges, we need you to help us to make this happen. We're bringing Startup Luxembourg today to the next level, but we are not in an elevator of an apartment building. We are in an elevator of a skyscraper, and we need your elevator pitches to take us to the very top. So, dear Minister and ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure for me today to reveal to you startupluxembourg.com. Thank you.
Startup coming to Luxembourg, it's very easy to develop your project and then afterwards go international. Go to other countries because Luxembourg is very small in its only market, but you have a very direct access to like the neighboring countries, but to every other country in Europe too.
All actors of the startup ecosystem in Luxembourg are working hand in hand in order to strive for the same goal.
The unique characteristic of the startup ecosystem is that it is a really closely knit ecosystem that fosters collaboration between the different stakeholders, private as well as public, and thanks to its small size, it really helps you to test your solutions, to get quick feedback and to have short ways to key decision makers in the market.
You can get an answer from the relevant people very quickly, which is the key element for a startup and the localization. The key things are within 10 minutes from our office, and that's great.
Luxembourg is very open to the world. It's a very international country where connections are easily made and also easily made with the other countries around Luxembourg and even beyond Europe.
I think we are getting to a point where we can aim to challenge the first in class and be actually the top contender.
In terms of financing, we've got it pretty much all covered. From very cheap options in terms of office for free, top-notch acceleration and coaching, all the way to state-backed subsidies and grants, business angel financing, VCs, you name it.
In Luxembourg, compared to other cities around the world, we don't take equity. So if you have funding from the Ministry of Economy, they don't take equity. It's a fast funding and easy to go from here.
There's an energy that permeates the ecosystem here. It makes everyone excited, including me, to wake up every morning knowing that we can achieve things.
Fantastic. Fantastic, and thank you so much, Sasha. If you haven't seen yourself in the video, don't worry. our Lux Innovation startup team is, of course, running an entire campaign over the summer, so you will still have the chance to see yourself in the video over the next weeks and months. And at this stage, I also would like, of course, to thank everyone who contributed to this video. So, coming to the next point, what would be Startup Luxembourg without having some of the actors today on stage with us? Therefore, it's my pleasure now to hand over to my colleague Sven Baltes for the moderation of the panel discussion on Startup Luxembourg. What is it all about? And also to invite the panelists on stage. Enjoy.
Thanks a lot, Stephanie, first of all, for the very kind introduction. Let me first take a look. I think it's amazing to see so many familiar faces here today, again, in a very physical mode. So it's a beautiful moment, I think. It's my pleasure, first of all, to welcome you all for this panel on Startup Luxembourg. What is it all about? And I have an exciting set of people with me that I'd first like to introduce yourselves. We have Lily Wang, Associate at Expon Capital. Then from my left to the right, Michele Gallo, Director, Digital Technologies and Startups from the Ministry of the Economy. Laurent Futin, Head of Digital Marketing and Communication of Lux Innovation. Diego de Biasio, who is the CEO of Technoport. And it's my pleasure to welcome as well Philip Lindstar, who is the CEO of the House of Startups. I would like to thank them all very warmly for being here today for this exciting moment I think that we are just about to share with you all. Now, Michele, I think our Minister of the Economy, Franz Fayo, has just described how the ecosystem grew and evolved over the last years. It's very exciting, and in 2019, we have launched Startup Luxembourg, the initiative of Startup Luxembourg to showcase and support the growth of the ecosystem. Could you tell us a bit more about the journey it has been so far, the background of the initiative?
Indeed. Thank you very much, Sven. As our minister mentioned, it was really a journey for this ecosystem to evolve as fast as it did. I joined the ministry nearly 10 years ago, really in charge of working on the development of the ecosystem. And I'm very proud to be in a panel like this because I see Diego here from Technoport, one of the only incubators that were present 10 years ago. But then all the other players that really showed the common effort of the public and the private sector to develop this ecosystem in what it is now and what you heard. 500 startups, 15 incubators and more, and also financing, of course, Expon Capital, Digital Tech Fund, and a lot of other funds that are starting to put their front office in Luxembourg to invest. But talking about Startup Luxembourg, this started in 2019 because when discussing with Lux Innovation, we really thought it was time to build a brand for the ecosystem, for all the players of the ecosystem, and for them to really gain more international visibility. So in 2019, since this was from the beginning a project linked to a community, we started on social networks. We developed a presence on social networks, and it quickly started to take off. 17,000 followers at the moment, very quickly in the networks. And a real way to get the word spread about the achievements of our ecosystem, about our great startups and their projects. And then 2020 came. A tough time for startups. But startup ecosystem really, and Startup Luxembourg was used there to pass the word to all the community through the social networks and through a website that was set up very quickly in order for all the state aids, all the measures that were put in place to be communicated as fast as possible to the community. And of course, Startups Against COVID, that was also published in the website. And today, I think, is really, and the title says it very well, moving this to the next level. This platform, which is the platform of the ecosystem, is really meant to showcase internationally the startup ecosystem in Luxembourg, to showcase the great startups we have, but also the unity of the ecosystem that makes the short links become even shorter for all the players, because this is a platform, as Sasha mentioned, for all the players of the ecosystem, but also for the new players of the ecosystem, for the startups that are abroad and that are looking to develop their business in Luxembourg, to find the right partner straight away. But it's also a platform based on data, because we really believe it's data that will be allowing us and allowing the ecosystem as well to become even more competitive and allow Lux Innovation, the ministry, to pilot the platform, to take on board all the feedback from the ecosystem. So I'm very happy to be here today because I really think the title is the right one, and we're going to bring this ecosystem to the next level altogether.
Thanks a lot, Michele. I think it's very impressive what has been happening already last years, how we have built up, how we have already worked well with social media in order to today make this happen and launch this new Startup Luxembourg portal. Now, Laurent, our CEO at Lux Innovation, Sasha Bailey, has just been talking about how important it is to connect the dots, how important it is to connect the local startup community with the local players from the startup support system. So could you tell us a bit more how this is about to happen in the future?
Sure. Thank you, Sven. Well, first of all, the startup ecosystem, the website will showcase every news, every event, every program, every initiative, and every player in the ecosystem. So I think from that perspective, we will really contribute to federate and connect under one single brand and one single platform, and this is very important. The second element is that if you take, for example, the international audience, let's say a foreign visitor coming from abroad and visiting the website, for a startup, for example, they would be able to find directly on the website a list of go-to partners that they can just pull from, depending on their profile, depending on their maturity cycle as well. And not only they'll find them, but also they're going to be able to contact them directly through the site. And this is very important in terms of adding value to the ecosystem. Basically, they will be able to pick the right partners and have a direct contact. So Startup Luxembourg is the entry point for whoever is interested in the ecosystem. But it's also about channeling, guiding the visitor to the right partner. We've even developed chatbots for that, so there's really dedicated functionalities that kind of facilitate these interactions. So the visitor coming to the site will be able to have interactions directly with Startup Luxembourg, obviously, but also with the ecosystem and even with the LTIOs across the world. So that's all the kind of functionalities we're really committed to develop moving forward to facilitate the interactions of our visitors through the ecosystem.
Awesome, Laurent. This really seems to be a portal that is for the actors, for all of the actors. And that's something also, Sasha, you have, I think, emphasized on a lot. This is not a Lux Innovation website. It's a website for the ecosystem and for all of the actors, including, of course, our startups in the ecosystem. So, Laurent, how do you concretely materialize on this fact that it's a website for all of us?
Well, actually, there's one key functionality, and Sasha mentioned it a bit before. Everyone in the ecosystem will be able to submit news and events to the website. So not only will publish it on the website, but we also relay it on social media. As Michele said, Startup Luxembourg today is 17,000 followers, and it's grown exponentially since 12-18 months, and we expect it to grow even further moving forward. So Startup Luxembourg, in that case, for whoever seeks traction and kind of additional visibility from the ecosystem, will be able to use Startup Luxembourg as an amplifier, basically. So this is a key point, again, talking about the adding value that the website will bring to the ecosystem. Obviously, we're keen on developing this website further. And it is not Lux Innovation's website, as Sasha said. It is obviously everyone's in the ecosystem that is going to drive and help us driving this website, so that it actually fits, really reflects the ecosystem and also serves what our visitors want to find on the website.
Could you tell us maybe a bit more about how important it is that all of the other actors are actively contributing to the website also to develop it further?
I think the more content we get on the website, basically the more it will reflect the ecosystem. So it is really about showing how dynamic the ecosystem is, and if everyone contributes, we really get this kind of amplification effect, and we'll be able to showcase what's really going on in the ecosystem.
Beautiful. I think something and a key message we have learned about today is already that everybody should contribute in the future to this website. It's very important to deliver content, to actively contribute with your respective events and your respective activities, also to make this a viable and dynamic place for startups to find themselves in. Now, let's talk to Lily, Diego, and Philippe about your perspective. So let's change perspective a bit from the background, and let's talk about the future. Lily, let's start with you maybe. What is the role you think this Startup Luxembourg portal, but also the initiative itself, will play from your respective perspective at Expon Capital?
Yeah, definitely. At Expon Capital, we are very excited and looking forward to the development of the website. And I think Luxembourg is a great place for the startup in our ecosystem to build an international operation. And for example, our portfolio company, Salonki, which offers online booking and SaaS solutions to beauty salons, has grown its operations by 10 times in terms of the customer base in just under 2 years to currently serving 1,000 salons and across 4 countries in Luxembourg, Belgium, Germany, and Switzerland. And we see the companies have very strong ambitions, and the Startup Luxembourg portal will make startups from early stage as well as late stage be much more visible to international investors as well as business opportunities as well as our local players. And that's what we see as a very important value add. And in addition, I think as an Expon Capital, we are only one of the actors in the ecosystem. What we really look forward to is to collaborate even better with other actors in our ecosystem, and together we'll be much stronger. Diego?
Yeah, Diego, maybe you can go on. So let's change perspective a bit here, moving from the investor perspective towards the incubator. You are the oldest incubator here in Luxembourg. So what role does it play from your perspective?
Yeah, thank you, Sven, also for the invitation today here. And for me, it's great to see this initiative. It's of course, a lot has already been said in terms of branding, communicating about the ecosystem as such. I think one dimension which is very interesting for me is really this data dimension that also Michele has put forward. If you collect data and you can actually promote the ecosystem on a more efficient or realistic numbers and data that you have collected, it's also a strong leverage, actually, I think, for not forcing, but actually inciting, giving incentives to new stakeholders to join actually the movement. So not just foreign entrepreneurs to come to Luxembourg, or also local entrepreneurs to perhaps take the chance and launch a new business, but also stakeholders like corporates, like service providers that actually will discover a little bit more this ecosystem as it is probably not known today. And it will also show that there's a systematic way of working between the different actors in the system, and that's very important, I think, also as such. So for me, when I started back in 2001, this was not even in my dreams, so I think it's a great step forward, and it will definitely leverage actually the ecosystem as such.
Thanks a lot, Diego, for your insights. Philippe, House of Startups and your perspective. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Sven. Thank you also for the invitation. It's nice to talk to people and not to talk to my screen at home. I think also what the Startup Luxembourg platform is great about, that you can make a difference about national startups and international ones. So I think everybody of us here in the room, we started once our first steps in the startup ecosystem. Diego told it now, he did his first steps 20 years ago. Some of us did it a few years ago, but somewhere we have to start. And I think we have a lot of national startups who do their first steps. We had Talkwalker, 2 people at Technoport. We had Salonki, 5 people at the House of Startups, at the Luxembourg City Incubator. But they all have to get to know the Luxembourg startup ecosystem. And how did you do it a few years ago? So you talk to people, you get to visit. Luxembourg, fortunately, is a small country. You can take the car and go to visit places, but it takes time. And now with this platform, I think gives you a really great overview. It's a great tool to see all the actors, not only incubators, but also VCs, business angel networks, universities. So I think this is a great tool to get a fast overview who could help you in the different stages of your startup life. And especially when you're early stage startups, it can really fasten up the process. And when you go then to the other part, the international startups, I think it's also a lead generator. So because a lot of startups coming at you and saying, yeah, I'm doing this and this. And when they have a platform where they already can take a look and they see, okay, this is the startup, this is the incubator or the program at the ministry or Lux Innovation, which can help you accelerate in Europe, because we also want to promote Luxembourg as your country to access Europe and then go internationally in the other countries. So I think also for the international startups, it's a great tool, but more advanced, because like national one, it's more early stage, and for international world, it's more advanced. So I think for that, it has dual purpose for national ones and international one, but combined on one platform. And I think that's a great solution.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Philippe. Thanks a lot, Lily and Diego as well. Something I think you all three mentioned somehow is branding, is creation of visibility. How do you think, maybe Diego, I would first ask you about, how do you think is the way you create visibility for your startups, for your portfolio companies, for example, is going to change and is going to support building success stories here from Luxembourg?
So actually, if now that comes back to what Sacha said, it's also a matter of how we are going to fill actually the platform. So it's of course it's a task that is now on our side. But if we do the proper job, I think this platform will be actually an additional communication and marketing tool for Technopole. It will promote the activities that we do, the activities of the startups that we host, and attract potential stakeholders also to these companies. It will also position, I would say, not just Technopole, but the whole ecosystem on different maps of international entrepreneurs or other ecosystems that are looking at what is happening here. And yeah, I think it will create transparency and accountability also of what the ecosystem is producing as an output compared to what is injected in it as such. So giving credibility also to what is produced actually in the ecosystem.
Absolutely, very important points, I think, personally. Now, staying with you, Diego, maybe. We have talked about the two perspectives, local startups and international startups. I think, Philippe, you already referred to international startups, some kind of. Do you think, Diego, that the way you are currently interacting with local startups that are already well acquainted with these local support actors will change via the new portal?
Yeah, I will perhaps start by saying I'm not sure that the locals all know how the ecosystem is structured and who are all the players. So it will definitely help in improving that, I guess. And I'm counting ourselves also in this, because I think there are a lot of initiatives that are starting and that we also need actually to monitor and to look at. If the way of working will be different, I don't know yet. I know that like I said, we will need actually to do our homework and contribute to the whole platform as such. So it's what is sure is we expect actually that if we do the job, that the deal flow will increase for us as Technopole. It will certainly also be a leverage for us actually to be more visible in the ecosystem to different stakeholders, and that's extremely important also for the coming initiatives that we are going to launch in sectors like space, like biohealth, or even the collaborations that we are right now discussing with all the public research institutes and the university in terms of spin-off creation. So this is something that we are also expecting, not just in terms of deal flow, but also in terms of partnerships and getting a better visibility in the overall ecosystem as such. So we will see what it will bring, but that's our expectation in that sense.
Perfect, thank you. Philippe, let's turn back to the international perspective. You are with the host, of course, with a key stakeholder, the Chamber of Commerce very involved in the startup ecosystem here in Luxembourg, you very often organize international economic missions, etc., etc. So how do you think that the Portugal will support those more international affairs and more international activities in the future?
Yeah, I think we get a huge amount of international requests, like really a lot of international inbound since we have been created in 2017 by the Chamber of Commerce. So we get requests every day. I think the same like Lux Innovation, like before the Startup Luxembourg website. So startups, international startups didn't really know where should I address myself to. There's the House of Startups, there's Lux Innovation. I don't know really the difference. So maybe I try to contact one of them. Then we are present as a country at a lot of international startup fairs. So we have the Viva Tech in Paris, we have Web Summit in Lisbon, you have the Slush in Helsinki. So they're really the most important European fairs. And then you meet a lot of key actors. You meet international startups, you meet investors, VCs, but also research organizations. And they are often interested about Luxembourg, but they don't really where to go. So of course we try to help them. It's a lot of the Ministry of Economy, it's Chamber of Commerce, Lux Innovation and the House of Startups, and of course all the other partners, but not everybody can be at all the fairs all the time. So we try to promote everyone, but it's not always easy because even we, and Diego said it, there are so many initiatives coming up every year, every 6 months. So we don't have them always all in our minds. So having such a platform, we have a great overview also to talk about them. Listen, you are from the fintech sector, you're more industry, you are smart city. Talk to these partners. We can put you into a relationship. So this really helps us, and it's really every stage. So if we talking about creation, we have the House of Entrepreneurship. If we have fintech, it's Luxembourgish House of Financial Technology. We have smart city, it's more the Luxembourg City Incubator. And then we have all the VCs and Alban. So I think all these partners having regrouped on one website to have a great overview, and then they can go into every direction. I think it's a tool which eases us a lot our life to promote a country, but also to attract them and to show how many different organizations we have launched in the last years.
Thanks a lot, Philip. Michele, maybe a quick follow-on question to you about events. Alongside the initiative launch in 2019, the Inside Startup Luxembourg events and side events, for example, have been launched. I think we have been 2 years ago at Web Summit, for example. So how do you think that this is also materializing on the fact of organizing these very local events all over the world around startup fairs?
I think on my side, sorry for that, these events are great. Because we find that really in those events we can attract companies or investors that are interested in Luxembourg. And to follow up those leads, I think as website and a platform like this one are the best solution. Because those leads are leads that are developed once, but then a lot of other players really hear about this. And through the website, through the platform, we can really better understand the needs of those players, qualify the players, and I think we can really, through this type of platform and the data we will develop through it, we can really find the companies that better fit in our ecosystem, the companies that will be able to develop with us this sustainable and competitive data economy that we want to develop in Luxembourg. So I think it really will have a big impact on the way we market Luxembourg in these events.
Attracting the right startups to Luxembourg, I think, is very, very important. The startups we attract should be in line with the Luxembourg strategy, with the data-driven innovation strategy. That's really, really important. So on the one side, it's about attracting startups. On the other side, Lily, it's about creating, of course, the startup ecosystem, or further creating the startup ecosystem that is there to support them, that is giving them the right instruments and tools at their side to support them here in and from Luxembourg. So, Lily, aside from the launch of the Luxembourg Startup Ecosystem Portal today, could you tell us a bit more about the investor landscape, the current investor landscape here in Luxembourg?
Yeah, sure, definitely. So I can first talk about Expon Capital. So despite COVID, in the past 12 months, we have made 3 new investments and refinanced 5 of our portfolio companies. And through our portfolio companies, that since we have invested since 2016, we have 0 bankruptcy rate. And that is very uncommon for early stage fund across Europe. And why is that? It's because we have very high quality startups in Luxembourg. And thanks to the incubation programs at House of Startup, for example, at Technopole, as well as the institutional support from Lux Innovation. And from an investor perspective, I say I'm very proud to be part of the ecosystem. I'm very bullish as an investor. And what we also see is, so one of the risks, let's say the biggest risk for early stage startup is being underfunded, and they will be very destructive for founders in terms of raising money in the difficult times. What we have seen is through our network of local and international investors, during COVID time, which is very difficult, but we managed to bring on board a number of other VC investors to co-invest with us at a very early stage, as well as refinance our portfolio companies. And we have seen increasing interest from international investors in our ecosystem in Luxembourg. And that's where I think Startup Luxembourg, the platform, will also play an important role to continuously build our reputation to attract investors to invest in Luxembourg. And when they come to us, we can also pointing them out to the Startup Luxembourg portal, so they can also know the different actors in Luxembourg, and together will be beneficial for all of us.
Thank you, Lily. How important do you think it will be in the future that the Startup Luxembourg portal showcases the ecosystem internationally in order to further foster on those, as you say, collaborations with international investors in order to create more meaningful outcomes for the startups?
Yeah, I think it will be definitely crucial in the future, because if you, I'll say like 2 years ago when we talked to international investors, they were like, Luxembourg is not on our map and we are not actively thinking about investing in Luxembourg. But I can tell you for the past 12 months, I have investors just, from Germany, from Belgium, from Netherlands, from France, talk to me, in video calls. They say, oh, can you tell me which of your portfolio companies need refinancing in the near future? And I also have investors just reach me out from the UK to say, oh, I'm doing a research in Luxembourg ecosystem. Actually, then I found out Expon Capital. Can you tell me more about your ecosystem? So that's actually very encouraging. And I believe that will be continuous the case in the future with more and more successful cases that we can also show on the platform.
Perfect. Michele, something very exciting I think our minister has just mentioned before is the startup ecosystem mapping that will be showcased on the portal in the future. Could you tell us a bit more about this initiative or this part of the portal?
Yes, that's another great step, I think, in the development of our ecosystem. I think you can see it in the slide behind me. This is really in line with the data strategy we're carrying out. I know you hear the word data a lot today, but this is really what we're focusing on. This mapping that has been done by Lux Innovation's market intelligence team, together with the startup team, is really one further step, because it allows on a data basis to really have a picture of our ecosystem. It really allows to be able to monitor over time our community. And it also is able to pinpoint a few key elements, such as, for example, the technologies that are mostly used by our startups, or the key sectors they are targeting. All of this really fits in our strategy to develop our ecosystem and to use data to make our ecosystem more competitive over the long term. Why? Because we believe we can learn from this data more about the companies, about the different players that are active in our ecosystem, in order to be able to better support them further. But we also believe that this mapping will really be able to show internationally the diversity of our ecosystem, the richness of our ecosystem, and all the great projects that are, springing up in Luxembourg every day. So very happy that for the startup ecosystem as well, we have a mapping right now that will be on this portal, and I think that will be really one of the highlights of the Startup Luxembourg platform over the future.
Michele, a follow-up question. Having an idea about our startup ecosystem, knowing our startup ecosystem in depth is of course also something that we could materialize on in order to further create business opportunities among the players, among the startups, but also among other players and the local business landscape here in Luxembourg. How do you think this would further be encouraged?
I think definitely, as has been said a few times, this website is to create business opportunities. If I had to summarize a bit this website for me, it would be, first of all, collaboration. This word has been said already. We need, of course, the content from all the players to be able to show and to showcase the achievements internationally. But we hope we will be able also to provide data for the different players to adjust their business model and to get better at what they're doing, and therefore to improve the ecosystem as a whole. So I think this is really one of the key points. The second key point for me is really data analytics, as you have understood. And this is really to get competitive and to keep also our startup ecosystem always competitive internationally in order to benchmark ourselves and see where we're good, where we should improve. And the last is branding, which also comes back to this question, because we should, through this website, be able to provide business opportunity, but to attract also very interesting, not only startups, but incubators, VCs, and make them aware of the advantages of establishing themselves in Luxembourg. So those are the 3 points, and I think all of them are bringing, we hope, a lot of business, will bring a lot of business to Luxembourg, but will also really help the ecosystem players to develop further.
Very, very interesting points, I think, and data seems to develop itself to being the word of the evening, I think. Hence, I'm putting it in the pot again. Laurent, data seems to play indeed a very crucial role in the new portal. So could you please tell us a bit more first about how you concretely make use of data in the future?
Indeed, I think looking back at the number of days and nights we spent trying to figure out how to make the most of the data from the website, internally with Michele as well, I can only say this is not a static website. There's much more behind. Thanks, Michele, for summarizing all about the Startup Luxembourg website. I think it's kind of gives a good overview, but data indeed is really essential. What we've done is using, for those who know about these technologies, we're using Power BI, which is gives some kind of high-level helicopter view of analytics from the website. And so on one hand, what is really important is to understand, if you through Power BI and through these dashboards, understand who's coming to the website, who are what's their profiles, what countries they're from, what key sectors, what key technologies, what is the maturity cycle of the startups visiting the website, and also what they do on the website. So what do they read? What sectors do they read the most about? What articles do they do? What do they actually perform on the website? So all this is kind of aggregated into these dashboards, and that's going to help us a lot to drive the website further, kind of fine-tune, every functionality, every content on the website. So that's really about piloting the website. The second element is talking about business opportunities to the ecosystem. There are specific dashboards which are about really measuring the kind of the volume of business opportunities that we're pushing through to the ecosystem. And that's something we'll monitor almost on a daily basis, I would say. Also talking to each of you in the ecosystem to kind of go and share and discuss how we can even continue and improve that on a daily basis. The last point, and we've mentioned the ecosystem mapping, which is for us one of the key kind of unique knowledge that Action Innovation brings in, and the Startup Luxembourg website is one piece that actually brings kind of more data to the puzzle, because for us it brings a different perspective as well. So obviously connecting this data to the Startup Luxembourg mapping is also essential.
And Laurent, maybe a further question. I would imagine, of course, that data is, of course, then at disposal to all of the people, all of the actors that make use in the future. That part of the initiative, that part of the portal. So, of course, that everybody involved is not only contributing, but is also, of course, taking out beneficial data for decision making and for further, introduction of activities.
Yes, indeed. So what we'll do is building different views, and everyone will have different accesses, obviously, and we've got a GDPR constraint, obviously, on that side. But what's going to be important is that we go and discuss with the ecosystem to show this data and kind of discuss how we can make the most of it. So it really has to serve the ecosystem in itself. obviously we will pilot them on different levels from an operational perspective as well. So like all get together, everyone having different views, everyone getting the proper KPIs and the proper data they need.
Perfect, thanks a lot. I think we have time for some closing remarks. Maybe Philip and Diego, would you maybe comment on and give an outlook about what is coming up now?
So for me, the next step would be cross-aggregating our data with your data to be even more complete and more accurate. But that's next step.
I think also something Diego mentioned before is maybe it's not the first goal of this platform is also for us, the ecosystem players, it's good to know what's happening and then have a look at your website and even say, I haven't talked a very long time ago to this person. Let's talk again. Let's see what's new. And let's see how we can develop or create new initiatives to help again our startups. So it's not only for the startups, national or international. It's also for us, for everybody, to see who's around. And then I think there's an after-work drink afterwards. We have the Startup Luxembourg platform also in the book here, the startup guide. So please, everyone who is here afterwards at the tables, please take an edition of the Startup Guide. It's also a promoting tool as a brand together with the Chamber of Commerce, but also with the ministries. We bought it out. We released it 3 weeks ago, so a little bit similar. So take your edition and also have a look at our success stories we have.
Michele, a final word from your side.
Yes, my final word is that please support this initiative as the ecosystem. Post your news, post your different information in there, and give us feedback. I think that is really the most important. As every startup, I think this platform has an incredible potential of growth, and we will make it grow together with you. And as every good startups, I think we will make it pivot together a couple of times before achieving the great success that we all believe, and I surely believe this platform can have and can bring to all of you.
That's, I think, a very, very nice word. Hand in hand, we are going into the future, I think, regarding this new Startup Luxembourg portal. Dear audience, dear panel, first of all, I would like to thank you all for listening and thank you to the panel for participating. So give a hand maybe to Lily, Michele, Laurent, Diego, and Philip Linster.
All right, thank you to all of you. What a very interesting discussion. I could listen to it for hours and hours, but we know we need to keep going. But our next topic is, of course, not less exciting as the previous one. Now we are coming to Fit for Start. Fit for Start. 6 years ago, everything started with edition 1. And today we are already at edition 11. As its participants, so grew also the program. And some of you might remember how everything started and progressed over the years. Some of you might not remember it, but therefore, let's have a look at it. Always great to see it. And yes, what would be Fit for Start without having some of our alumni today here with us? So please welcome with me my colleague Laurent Sulla, who will take over for the moderation of the next panel. It's actually a retrospective on Fit for Start, as well as also the panelists. Welcome and enjoy.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Stephanie. Yes, I'm really pleased to see all these faces here. A bit impressed, it's so long that we didn't have a physical event here in Luxembourg, seeing my colleagues, so much of them, and all these friendly faces here. I'm really happy to welcome you and to be part of this panel concerning the Fit for Start retrospective. Fit for Start, it's effectively impressive figures since 2015. As we see in the movie, it was more than 2,000 applications since the beginning. It's also the 11th edition that started a few weeks ago with a brand new selected startup. And it's also 98 supported startup and 7 million distributed. So really a great figures. But it's also a human journey and fantastic projects and meeting new entrepreneurs each time. So I'm really pleased to have here on board for today Alfonso, CEO of Yotaco. He was part of the second edition of Fit for Start. Jacob, CEO of My Medbot. He was part of the 6th edition of Fit for Start. And also Andre, from Raffinex. He was part of the 8th edition. And I'm also pleased to welcome Stefan, Head of the Acceleration Services in Lux Innovation. So welcome to you. And I think the first thing I would ask you maybe is to introduce a bit yourself and present your businesses. Thank you, Alfonso.
Okay, thanks, Laurence. First of all, it's for me an honor to be here today. We at Yotaco, the company was founded a few years ago, actually as a consequence of the second Fit for Start edition. We develop a technology that allows you to create websites and mobile apps from designs created with professional design tools like Adobe XD or Photoshop or all these kind of tools that you know. And then, since then, on the business side, we have thousands of accounts all over the world. We closed 2 fundraisings already. And looking forward to the future.
Great. Jacob?
Hi, thanks so much. It's an honor to be here speaking with you all. Great to see familiar faces again. So, I'm Jacob. I'm the CEO at My Medbot. Right now, we've helped automate over 8 million COVID screenings in the US, all from Luxembourg. I'm really proud of this, and it was through the support of Lux Innovation and the Fit for Start program that really enabled us to pivot and enable us to really make this happen.
Great.
We are now moving on to automating more business processes in schools and organizations. And I'll be happy to tell more about that after this panel.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, I'm Andre. I'm one of 3 founders of Raffinex. We are a company that write really advanced math optimization algorithms for helping engineering companies design safer or more lightweight products or go to market much faster with their products. So we work, for instance, for OEM companies that create electric vehicles, flying cars, race cars, but also we work for a little bit in the biomedical implant region. So anywhere where it is about optimizing engineering products, that's where we supply mathematical optimization software.
I'm Stefan. I'm in charge for the Startup Acceleration Unit within Lux Innovation, a side of Fit for Starts, working with these super interesting companies. We also support other companies in Luxembourg and companies coming from abroad in its early stages, but also in its scale-up stages with additional tailor-made advisory services. We help in facilitation on a daily basis on that side, and also trying to challenge their business models, and of course helping in their go-to-market and their financing needs for the next steps to come.
Thank you, Stefan. Thank you for introducing yourselves. So Fit for Start has welcomed a lot of different projects, different technologies and so on, so you are well representing this today. I would like to ask you first, when you came to Fit for Start, at what stage you were? So what progress you achieved during Fit for Start? And maybe you could also share what challenges you faced during the program and how you could overcome them. Maybe Jacob first.
To talk about challenges in 30 seconds, where to start? In the Fit for Start program, we were really forced to question our assumptions, and we had the opportunity to really go out on the field and speak with potential customers. And throughout the program, we actually pivoted to have a different demographic, and I really thought that was very helpful, and we had the opportunity to do that.
And maybe for our audience, could you just explain at what stage you were when you started?
Right, so we had an MVP, but because of we were able to validate our assumptions, we had to completely remake our MVP to something else. And we were going to market after the acceleration program.
Fine, thank you. André?
So we came to Fit for Start maybe a good 9-10 months after the teams gotten together. Fit for Start really, it was a weird situation because there was only 3 of us, 9 months, so it was a bit more of a team and a project, yet we had like 25,000 euro monthly revenue already. That said, Fit for Start pushed us to formalize a lot of things, articulate our vision, articulate different aspects of the business, and it really helped us shape us from a team with a project into a small company with operations. And it turned out that I was quite critical actually for onboarding first employees, which were actually quite serious. So if you, for instance, our chief business officer is a 25-year veteran in the field, a person like that doesn't quit your biggest competitor worldwide and joins you if they don't see substance or professionalism. So it really shaped us into that situation. The biggest challenge was those areas where, and I see some of the coaches in the back, those areas where we had to accept, or we wanted to accept advice and change, and those aspects of the business where we had contrarian views or knowledge leads where we had to insist on our views and we wouldn't budge and we had to push back a bit on coaches. So it was making that split between what areas are open for improvements and what ones weren't, because they were our domain.
Okay, Alfonso.
Maybe you can see the pattern here, because in our situation was kind of the same as my colleagues. We came with first MVP, a lot of traction in the countries around Luxembourg, and basically we went through how to professionalize the business, erase some of the assumptions we had, make other assumptions, prove them actually, and also run some repeat until you have something that really makes sense for not for you but for your customers. And then since then I think really about the challenges is also to get out there, know your customers, filter which one is more interesting for the business point of view, not just because it could make sense for them, but also how to optimize everything from the business perspective. That was really helpful from the coaches' point of view, but also from the junior members. We had really great people with a lot of experience, professional experience, that people that succeeded in the ecosystem. So that was really valuable for us,
Yeah, it's true that with Fit for Start, we have the opportunity to welcome different projects, different stage of development projects, being from, let's say, MVP or first technical development of the project, and to bring them thanks to one-to-one coaching session with really professional coaches, but also the interactions with the juries and everything. It really helped, I think, to challenge many points of view of the business. Thank you for sharing this. So maybe I would like to ask you, so we can see that with Fit for Start, your project came to another level with a more business-oriented project. Can you tell us what happened after the program? So after graduation, what progress could you make?
I can start, you want?
Yes.
Yeah, so basically, many things. We continue the process after that. So we got partnership with the main design companies in the world. I can mention, for instance, Adobe. We have a plugin for them from one of the tools. We have thousands and thousands of customers on many different countries all over the world, because the technologies you use to create websites and mobile apps are the same here in Luxembourg and the US or Japan, for instance. And then, yeah, we recently closed our second fundraising. And because of COVID, you have also this Go Digital that happens all over the world. So that is also fostering our technology. So yeah, it's a very good situation for us as well.
Thank you, Alfonso. André?
Yes, so we are a bit of a special type of startup that has been profitable for day one. We remain profitable to date. We have grown staff now to our total effective is about close to 10 people, 7 people on staff, but about 10 people working full-time on RapidX now. Yeah, we start to work with large automotive OEMs and aerospace OEMs on their battery electric vehicle platforms and flying cars. Obviously, I can't mention many names. Those that I can mention are, for instance, McLaren or GKN Aerospace. So those are companies that we are actively now shipping software product to.
Okay, thank you, Jacob.
After the Fit for Start program, it really gave us a lot of name recognition in Luxembourg, and it enabled us to create partnerships where we were able to, with the International School of Luxembourg, pilot and test our application, and that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So we just talk about a bit your participation in Fit for Start. Maybe I will ask Stefan, who has maybe an helicopter view, to share with us how the program evolved during the different edition, and maybe in terms of focus, in terms of participation.
Yeah, happy to do so. As we just saw in the video, it's a program that lasts now for 6 years. Obviously, at the very beginning, the pilot edition, 3 startups joined the pilot edition. Today, we're supporting 35 startups a year in 2 editions. And also the dimension with regards to the focus, which is very much aligned also with the country's objectives, is covering sectors like ICT very broadly, but it covers all sectors like also clean tech, automotive and smart mobility features and logistics, but also the fintechs and regtechs, of course. But there's also 2 additional editions or sectors covered, which are health technologies and space technologies. So very much aligned with the overall company strategy. And this is a learning, I think, that we made also throughout the years, that we see an increasing success rate when all actors are very much aligned. Of course, behind the scenes, we did our learnings, and what a typical entrepreneur is doing, asking the customers what is going well and what isn't going so well, asking for constructive feedback, i.e. we did surveys with our alumni, and we wanted to understand what's the issues, what's missing, what do we need to add to the programs. And this is an ongoing learning that we do in order to professionalize things, but also to really fit with the needs of a technology entrepreneur in these stages. We learned that probably what all companies have in common, they are pivoting a lot, and this is what Fit for Start is doing on the one side, but also we need to stay very dynamic with regards to the services that we can offer to the startups.
Thank you, Stefan. So we talked about the program, about your participation. So I would like also to emphasize the support you could receive, let's say, from Luxembourg, from the ecosystem. And do you think that the fact of having participated to Fit for Start increase, or this support, or the opportunity to have access to this support? Maybe Jacob?
Yes, definitely. As I mentioned, with our technology that we are developing in the emergency health space, it's very risky and regulated field to be developing innovative technologies in. But with the Fit for Start program came a level of trust that, you know, the government of Luxembourg, Lux Innovation, has put their sign of approval on this, and that really helped us move forward in our product development.
Okay, thank you. Maybe Alfonso.
Yeah, definitely as well. I mean, we started at the Technopore, and we were already testing our solution with the startups around there. So that was the very first thing before, you know, going into other businesses in the country, and then going in other countries around, and then also having, you know, this international projection. Having all this, you know, free money is very important, because we could have, you know, the first employees really soon. And also, for instance, one of the ways we partnered with some of the companies that we have right now as partners was in the US, and we were there because one of the programs, national programs, that brought 5 startups to, you know, a summer boot camp kind of acceleration there, and we took the chance to, you know, try to meet as much as possible of the potential partners that we could have there, and it worked amazingly well. And of course, and the Joint Innovative Enterprise subsidy program. So there are many things to take benefit from having the company in Luxembourg. And yeah, I can think of that, but of course the ecosystem, all the people, just you know, even on COVID, I mean, we had contact from people that we didn't even expect. Hey guys, how are you doing? Do you need help for anything on the business? It was really amazing, all the help we received during the ecosystem, during the COVID.
Thank you, Alfonso. André?
Yes, so Rafinex is lucky enough to have quite a lot of support from the ecosystem, different actors, different directions. I mean, the Fit for Start gave us the financial security to make some very strategic talent acquisition. That was very important. But since then, we've actually moved up a weight class. So we are at the moment in a Young Innovative Enterprise grant with the government in combination with COVID that has de-risked our step to launch really products. So in a crisis situation, the government has had our back to double down on product rollout. So that's big thanks for that. But it doesn't stop there, really. We also, Rafinex has a shared research with the University of Luxembourg in computational mathematics. So that's underwritten by the Fonds National de la Recherche, for instance. And yeah, further out, even like, I mean, said researcher now tinkers with the first runs on the Malexina supercomputer. So yeah, we are tightly integrated into the different players. Yeah. And that's just the public sector, as private actors as well.
Thank you. So some keywords: visibility, trust, infrastructure, partnerships. So that are some keywords that Fit for Start provides. Thank you. Maybe we heard about a lot COVID situation, COVID crisis. So it has impacted a lot our lives on a day-to-day basis. But I think that for some of you, in particular Jacob, you took a particular opportunity from it. So I would like you to share this fantastic opportunity you have to develop.
Definitely. So before the COVID crisis, we were developing emergency alert solutions for acute medical emergencies. And then in March 2020, we were faced with not an acute, but a group medical emergency. So we took our know-how and our thoughts in developing solutions to help in medical emergencies, and we developed a really simple but customizable solution so that organizations could automatically communicate to their community members, whether it's safe for them to come into school, to come into work. And we, as the world was going into lockdown, we had the foresight to think, what will happen when organizations start reopening? And during that reopening, they would need to know who is safe and who is not. And so, as I said in the introduction, today we've automated 8 million forms. So if you were to make a stack of paper, that would be over 800 meters tall. And I actually have some feedback from some of our customers saying that we have helped prevent a COVID outbreak at their school and at their business because a symptomatic COVID positive person was immediately identified and did not spread the disease throughout their whole community. And so, yeah.
So it's a wow story from COVID. I'm really happy for you. I would like to ask also Alfonso and André if for you COVID was more an opportunity or a critical situation. Maybe André?
So I think it's a disaster, and then no questions asked. That said, Rafinex did manage to make lemonade out of lemons. So initially there was a shock market that nobody would pick up the phone, but we had plenty of product development to do in-house. So we just decided collectively, no panic, heads down, let's focus on product development and roll that out, be ready in the market with a product when stuff moves again. I mean, cars still need to be developed, right? And then we were digitally from the ground up anyway, so in-house operations weren't disturbed very much either. Effectively, what's happened since is that with all these remote meetings, it's actually made customer acquisition, at least the qualification of leads, much more efficient because I don't need to drive to Stuttgart to have a 1-hour meeting and come back. Like I can have that just remotely. And also the companies very quickly show their hand much more. So there is a project and there's budget, and then they will say yes, or there's no budget and they'll say no. So it just makes everything much clearer. So in that sense, yeah, we got through it better than most. That said, I don't want to paint too rosy of a picture. Cash is king, and cash flow is crucially important.
Fantastic. Alfonso.
Highs and lows. I would say that we were fundraising during COVID, and we lost the biggest ticket, the biggest investor we have because of COVID. And I totally understand the reasons behind, but it was not the ideal situation for us. On the other hand, all this go to digital around the globe that really pushed the company up, and we managed to find also other investors as well. Some here from the community, they already help us as well. Some around the countries, the near countries, also Luxembourg. So yeah, highs and lows, I would say. I remain with the positive things, and yeah.
Oh, thank you, Alfonso. Maybe we talk about what has been for you. Maybe just share what initiatives COVID and let's say the situation has created for us, Stefan.
There's a few great examples how startups adapted to the new situation, but not to hide that there's always the flip side of the coin. So obviously COVID was affecting a lot of businesses. So we also tried to quickly react on these things. Startup versus COVID has been mentioned earlier in the speeches already, so it was picked up. It was our way or one way how we wanted to also contribute to our startups in order to give them the financing at hand to adapt and to pivot and to stay robust in the markets. I'd also like to pick up something that you earlier mentioned, Young Innovative Enterprise, for example, in order to cover the next steps in the journey and to link it maybe to Fit for Start. Fit for Start is just the beginning. So we would like to build long-term relationships with the startups and to be with them also for the next steps to come. And this instrument supporting the growth together with private investors, I think that is a key element also to stay competitive also on a larger scale than just the local markets. That's also something that we feel when companies coming from abroad via Fit for Start as an example, when they discover the acceleration program as their short way or their gateway to Europe, the first thing we would like to also show them that there's more steps to come and that the ecosystem can be of critical relevance to make this successful.
Thank you, Stefan. So we talk about experiences. I would like now to turn to future. So if you have to give advices or your opinion of what kind of support should be improved or should be given to bring you again to the next level or to really bring you new opportunities. So what would you say to the audience today? Maybe first, André.
Okay, so from my side, Luxembourg has lots of advantages. The connection with the government and agencies is super short. Contact is really good, feedback is really fast. Actually, the government, for all intents and purposes, is fairly digitized compared to other places in the world, so that's very good. I now will take that to shine the spotlight actually on the private sector because, I mean, connecting people and international expansion out of Luxembourg were recurring themes tonight. So to do that, though, you need private actors as well. You need accountants, you need lawyers, you need banks. And actually, those actors in Luxembourg are not part of this community as of yet, or not fully integrated, and they don't understand the needs of the startups necessarily either. So they are not digital enough, and they're not fast enough. I don't need an NDA review by a lawyer to take 3 weeks. It needs to take 2 days. My bank needs to talk to my accountancy company automatically every morning at 9 o'clock. I don't need to scan like bank transactions once a month, send it over to accounting, right? So there, in the future, I think the private sector needs to adapt and really understand the growing needs of the startup community in Luxembourg, because that's just cost structure overhead in my business that I don't need. Because Luxembourg actually is excellent. The know-how is there. Like, you have the fiscal lawyers that know how to structure cross-European IP deals and revenue deals and so on and so forth. But there is a challenge of finding them and then acting quickly enough on them. So the know-how is there. It's just that the supporting modernism of that sector needs to improve to match the speed of the startup things.
Thank you, André. Jacob?
Let's see. My experience of finding accountants was actually quite easy in Luxembourg. He lives across the street from me. Now, I found that, but indeed, I wish my bank did have an API to talk to my accounting software. No, I think that I'm really excited about these more physical events, having these physical events, really supporting the startup community, having fellow startups talk more with each other. And I think before the pandemic, Luxembourg was doing a very good job at fostering this community, and I'm looking forward to it coming up again afterward and as we go forward.
Good. Also, Alfonso?
So I do partially agree with what you guys said, because in my experience, from my point of view, so everything related to administration, bank or accounting, everything like that, is quite faster and easier than in the past countries I live in my previous years. It's with a very big difference. But that said, I find other problems, like, for instance, hiring people is really tough. Luxembourg is small, good people, cost a lot of money, they're already working, and you need to bring people here. And so to bring people here, you need to, do something else. And it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of time. And maybe through this kind of platforms and initiatives, we could think about how we can find ways to improve the ecosystem to help companies, not just startups, but in general, companies to bring talent to Luxembourg. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. Yeah.
It's a great first input.
First feedback.
That could be effectively a good starting point. Maybe a quick to stick to the timing. Stefan, quick overview of what we could do.
Understood. Very quick then. Of course, shortening ways is of key relevance also for the future. Talking about platforms, Fit for Start can offer so many different things. We can bring startups much more closer to the corporates in order to create business opportunities, and there's other initiatives that we need to really tie in, like the high performance computing, all these kind of things, which are of critical essence for the tech entrepreneurs, and we'll definitely pick it up and work on that for the future.
Thank you.
Startup mapping, not to forget about the data part of that.
So, as the closing words, I would like to ask you guys if you should define the program in one word. What would you say? Alfonso.
I would use two, stepping a stone.
Jacob.
Challenging.
André?
I thought Stepstone, but then I'm going to go for Launchpad. That's actually just one, but same feeling.
Okay, brilliant, guys. Thank you very much for participating. Thank you to the audience, and I think that we are going to leave the floor and give the next. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Laurence. Thank you also to all the panelists. We have heard it today already a couple of times. The last 1.5 years, nearly, has been a very intense period where we needed to run everything in a digital manner, including also Fit for Start. A couple of weeks ago, we actually organized the entire selection of Edition 11 in a fully digital mode. And the participants are therefore more than happy to be here today in order to present themselves to you and to the entire world. Ladies and gentlemen, today you will have the opportunity to finally see the pictures of the 15 selected companies of ICT and space. And I see already some of you being in the starting blocks, so I won't be any longer between you and the stage. So good luck and enjoy.
My name is Edouard Beauvois, and I'm one of the founders and CEO of AI Evidence. With two other friends, we studied AI Evidence 2 years ago with one goal: standardize artificial intelligence for financial departments. Today, we deliver a SaaS solution dedicated to receivables management that can, on the one hand, predict when customers will pay their invoices, and on the other hand, segment the debt portfolio of our customers according to payment patterns and to various types of risk. With our solution, our customers can see the number of unpaid invoices being reduced by 30% and their operational efficiency increased by 20%. We work very closely with SAP, the German ERP vendor, and our solution is indeed an add-on to their receivables management component. I'm really looking forward to meeting you all and start working together as part of the Fit for Start 11th edition. Thank you.
Hello all, thank you very much for us being here. We at Cascade are on a mission to assist especially SMEs in and related to the financial sector. SMEs we know struggle with automation, digitalization of things, and we've developed a platform which is already being used across 10 countries in Europe, which allows them to automate certain processes, fulfill their regulatory obligations, in particular AML, KYC, by giving them a full framework which they can base on. Our platform is hugely affordable, which is a key problem for a lot of these SMEs, and we look forward to Fit for Start to help us go to the next level. Thank you very much.
Blackswan Technologies is creating a software suite that allows satellites to do work in space autonomously. Making satellites more autonomous will expand the range of activities they can perform, reduce operational costs, and increase the revenue for the mega constellation operators for the newfound ability to perform maintenance, repair, and life extension. Satellite autonomy will create all the necessary conditions for fuel infrastructure in orbit, satellite servicing, and in-orbit construction. We currently have 3 autonomy products in our pipeline that are focused on the growing in-orbit servicing market. Our ultimate goal as a company is to become a go-to service provider for doing autonomous work in space. We look forward to working with Luxembourg, the Fit for Start team, and many great companies in the program to build the future space economy.
Hello, everyone. At Giftable, we believe that kindness reciprocates. We believe that only joint creativity and gifts create intimacy and connection. Giftable ultimately is a mobile app that allows you to send a gift to one of your phone contacts. In return, the recipient can go out and redeem that gift, that experience, with one of our retail partners. Today, Giftable counts more than 110 partners in Luxembourg, more than 220 retail locations, as well as over 500 experiences across the country. Today we have more than 8 full-time employees, and through Fit for Start we are looking forward to now be scaling throughout Europe. Thank you very much.
Emerging circular economy trends are pushing industry to trace and recover chemicals and materials at the end of their life. Did you know that 600 million tons of materials are sent to landfill or incinerated every year, with potential loss of valuable resources? And you know that this is actually happening because companies and consumers do not know how certain materials could be potentially recovered instead of being thrown to waste. That's why we have developed ChemChain, a communication platform to exchange and trace information on chemicals along the supply chain, enable them to recover their own materials at the end of their life cycle.
Our technology is currently being tested by the largest chemical companies in the world, including Dow Chemical, Solvay and P&G. We cover various industries such as pharma, textile, furniture, energy and more.
We are extremely passionate about ChemChain positive impact, which can help us to give a better future to our children, with a smarter and more efficient use of materials for a cleaner and more sustainable environment. Invest in us for a better future.
So, hello everybody, I'm Julian Cass, I'm from Codive, I'm the co-founder and CTO. And Codive is a Luxembourgish company that has been created now 1 year ago. And at Codive we develop B2B management software for real estate agencies, funds, and also developers to help them to provide better transparency and also to remove inefficiencies in their processes. To do so, we provide them a management software, a multi-sided management software, and that will also help them to achieve their ESG, to reach their ESG achievement, and also provide better experience to all the stakeholders involved in their processes, in their projects. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Martin Philp from Clutch Space Systems. We are fundamentally changing the way that satellites are operated on orbit. We will enable genuine real-time monitoring and imagery collection. We will deliver on-demand contact for operations, including immediate responses in critical activities such as debris capture and removal and satellite servicing. We will do this through a network of novel antennas using our virtualized software-defined ground segment. This step change is comparable to the move from dial-up to broadband in our daily lives, and we are at the heart of delivering it. We are Clutch Space Systems, and we'd be delighted at the opportunity to discuss collaborations, investments, and opportunities to enable your missions. Have a lovely day. Thank you.
Good afternoon. So, student populations worldwide are getting more and more diverse. In Luxembourg, for example, 60% of children who start schooling come from a migratory background and often don't understand the language of instruction at school. So these students are clearly at a disadvantage compared to their native peers, even in subjects that are not necessarily related to language, such as mathematics. To overcome this language barrier, we created Magritte, a comprehensive pedagogical training program for enhancing children's cognitive and mathematical abilities without using any language requirements. So by replacing verbal instructions with visual material, we were able to create an application that can be used by everybody. This includes students such as second language learners, students with hearing difficulties, or maybe students with dyslexia. So by providing children with the most important mathematical foundations, we are hoping to reduce inequalities in education, as well as helping children worldwide. Thank you for your attention.
Hello everyone at Fit for Start. My name is Thomas Wappel. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Divisend. Divisend is the leading international wealth tax fintech platform for the fastest way to reclaim foreign dividend withholding taxes, a $90 billion market. Our B2C software helps private investors to reclaim their taxes by automating the withholding tax refund process in a very convenient way. Divisend is the first fintech worldwide to work on digitizing such a service in a novel, user-friendly and price-competitive way. With our holistic approach, verbalized by the claim Find, Act, Maximize, Divisend's platform will be the central place for investors striving for high dividend earnings, as they will find only the most relevant insights, research, analytics, and tax services there. Thank you for having us.
Hi everyone, my name is Ksenia. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Mission Space, and we're building a global predictive space weather system. It's our pleasure and honor to be selected for this Fit for Start cohort 11, and we cannot wait to work with each and every one of you. Everyone is familiar with the weather on Earth, but what about the weather in space? Solar activity leads to several impacts on the ground and affects the most critical technologies of our modern-day society. With our own nanosatellite constellations built and launched, we offer a unique tool to predict and monitor space weather radiation risks. We'll be able to give alert notifications and an accurate forecast of possible geomagnetic storms. With this information in return, industry leaders will have the lead time to prevent technical interruptions in the services they provide, as well as discover the impacted systems. We're currently open to cooperation opportunities and are looking for potentials and users of our data and hazard warning system. Thanks everyone, and happy to connect on LinkedIn.
Hello, my name is Sabine Mersch from the Privacy Office. This year, GDPR became 3 years old. And as you might know, I have heard about it before, GDPR is there to make sure that whenever people's data are processed, that freedoms and liberties of peoples are respected. Still, after 3 years, lots of things need to be done. Fines are increasing, but for many companies, it's still very difficult to hold up with GDPR compliance issues. And that's why we have developed TPO Map, which is a business intelligence tool, which translates 15 years of experience in data protection into a software which provides an automated process for making GDPR compliance simple and cost efficient. So I'm personally believing that all the startups and all these services and IT-based products will really help our future will really help our world to stay safe, and the way we want to help all these startups and digital services and products to reach their goal is by helping embedding privacy into the design of all these good products and services. And by doing so, we want to contribute to make sure that the world in which we will live in a few years, or this digital world, still allows people to be free and safe. Thank you.
Space companies and agencies are spending their time and budget building electronics from scratch because there are no powerful and reliable computers that can be customized for different space applications. Novospace is developing a solution based on our own ecosystem of high-performance, radiation-tolerant modular electronics. Our solution significantly reduces time to orbit, risk, and cost for applications requiring more computing power and reliability than CubeSats. Our market today includes mainly near-Earth applications, such as broadband communications, high-resolution Earth observation, and any other compute-intensive technologies, like machine learning in space and autonomous systems. But these applications are just the tip of the iceberg. We envision a future in which our computers are the backbone for deep space communications, transportation, mining, and other space ventures, unlocking the full potential of the space industry. Our solution also includes an app store for software compatible with our computers. If you are part of a software company, let's talk.
Hi everyone. My name is Julia. I'm one of the co-founders of 2Stories app, and we are building a mobile app for fast content production and social media. There are 90 million professional content creators creating and sharing Instagram stories every day, and they do it a lot. This is how they basically make the money. They entertain the audience, they engage it, the audience grows. So we're building the mobile app that helps them optimize this process, but making it really fast, lowering the barrier, and make it fun and easier. So what the app does, our app turns any possible content to Instagram story just in one tap. Literally, it could be YouTube link, website, page, text, video, podcast episode, basically everything. You just add content once, and the app automatically and instantly creates multiple designs ready to be published with different layouts, all directly to your Instagram account. We launched our product 6 months ago, and since then, more than 25,000 people downloaded the app, and they created more than 100,000 content so far. And we are happy to be part of Fit for Start. Thank you.
Hello, Fit for Start. We are Plus Ultra Space Outpost, and in this maybe unusual way, we want to tell you our story.
The second race to the moon has begun.
There are more than 100 moon missions planned until 2030.
All these missions face the same two challenges.
Proper communication and navigation.
Current missions suffer from low bandwidth, access constrained to the near side, limited communication windows, inaccurate navigation, and complex mission planning.
We will close all these gaps in communication and navigation. 100 megabit per user, ubiquitous access, 24/7 connectivity, GPS-like navigation, the whole thing as an end-to-end solution.
Our constellation, Harmony, creates the first lunar network with 8 satellites in 2 orbital planes using lasers to connect to our Earth stations.
Thank you, Fit for Start, and congratulations to all other participants.
Digital marketing is bad for people's well-being, and it's not good for brands either. Firstly, it's creepy. It's a $50 billion industry that is entirely based around using your private data to predict your behavior and keep you on screen. Secondly, pop-up ads don't create the experience that builds emotional engagement with users, which is more crucial than ever for brands. Brands do want to create this kind of experience, but they don't have the digital tools to do it. What if brands could create these authentic customer connections in a way that also promotes health? No Big Deal enables brands to do this by creating gamified well-being challenges for customers. For example, walk 25,000 steps and achieve a gift card for Deliveroo. Brands support their customers' well-being and generate the emotional engagement they need. Plus, users get a fun incentive to do the things that make them feel good. We call it achievement marketing, and are already enabling more than 50 brands to engage thousands of users in our app today. So get No Big Deal and see the power of digital marketing when it's used for good.
Let's have a big applause to all around. What an amazing card. I'm really looking forward to this 11th edition, and also from my side already, good luck to all of you. All right, now we are coming ready to our last topic of today, which is the graduation of Edition 10. Edition 10 was probably the edition of Fit for Start that was most hit by the restrictions, as we needed to run the entire program from the first day to the last day fully digitally. Nevertheless, this has not taken, of course, their good mood and motivation, especially when it comes to celebrating their graduation with us here today. 25 startups from space, ICT, and health tech participated in this last edition. And today will be the day where we're gonna announce who out of those 25 startups made it to the final graduates of the program. But before getting started, I would like to welcome again on stage Sasha Bailey, CEO of Lux Innovation, as well as Mario Grotz, President of Lux Innovation and Director General for Industry, New Technologies and Research at the Ministry of the Economy, for the handing over of the trophies. Thank you very much. So Sasha, Mario, have a big applause for them. So are you both ready? Yes? Ladies and gentlemen in the room, are you ready? Yes? And I hope so that our people at home are ready as well, because now we will go to announce the graduates of Edition 10 of Fit for Start. And I will start with space. So, the graduates from space are Celestial. Let's have a big applause there. Where are you? No one from Celestial here? No, it doesn't seem so. Well, then we will come to the next one, which is... Is there someone? No? Yes? I don't see faces. The light is too bright. Is it Helen? Are you from Celestial? So, please. And please just stay on the stage for a second at the call now, because we will do, of course, a family picture at the end with all the space startups that are here today with us. Coming to the next graduate of space, it is Engineers. So the next one can unfortunately be here with us today, but normally they should be connected, and it is Spin. Hello. Congratulations. I don't know if you can hear us. Can you hear us? Yes?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Big applause to you. Congratulations again. The next one is Okapi Orbit, also connected to us via Zoom. Hello. Congratulations.
Hey, everyone. Yes, thank you so much. It's an honor.
Great. Thank you so much for taking the time to be connected today. Thank you. And unfortunately, the last one could not join us, neither physically nor via Zoom, but it's a pleasure, of course, to announce the last graduate of the Space Vertical, which is number 8. So also a big applause for them. And now I would like to ask you to come again on stage, please. Thank you. So that we can do a quick family picture with, normally the other space startups will be connected as well, is that right? So you should come here in the center, in the middle, with Sasha and Mario, of course. Not yet. Shall we do it? No, it's okay? Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. So, coming now to the RCT vertical. And there, the first graduate is Rescue. The next one is Sibavo. Congratulations. And the next one in a row is Zizi. Congratulations. The next graduate of the ICT vertical, yeah, there are some few to come yet, is Kidola. And we are not at the end yet, but the next one is Emohak. Congratulations. And last but not least, we have our final graduate from the ICT vertical, but who could unfortunately not be here with us here today physically, so we will need to connect with him via Zoom. And I'm waiting for the team, if it's working. Is it good? Good. Well then, Are you all ready for the last graduate of the ICT vertical? It's T-Quest. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Hello, can you hear us?
Yes, you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you really well.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
You're welcome. Thank you to you and also to all the other startups for your great support. And now it's time again for a picture. So if you could come on stage. Again in the center with Sasha and Mario. One. Perfect. And then we will come already to the last vertical, which is the health tech vertical. And there we will start with Mylene 8. And the next one, who is also physically here today, is organotherapeutics. But we are not yet at the end, no, but the last ones are connected again via Zoom with us. And the first one I'm going to announce is Patch AI. So Alessandro should be normally connected now. Hello, I know it's Kumara.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Kumara, can you hear us?
I can hear you guys perfectly. Can you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Lovely. It's an honor to have been part of the program. I'm very much looking forward to making the move to Luxembourg. So till then, so long and thanks for all the fish.
You're welcome. Thank you. And congratulations. And the next one of the graduates from the health tech vertical is Wavy Assistant. No? I got it. Not connected. Okay, so unfortunately, Daryl from Wavy is not connected neither. Then we will go directly to the last one. Is the last one connected? Yes, great, okay. Then we will end at least with one who is connected. And this is Merake. So congratulations. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you so much for this honor. Really appreciate it, and we'll see you in Luxembourg very soon.
Thank you so much. And that was it. We already finished with the graduates from edition 10. And I also have the pleasure to announce to all the graduates that, a picture, of course. How could I forget a picture? Please come on stage again. And do we manage to get the connected ones? Thank you to all of you, and also thank you, Sasha, thank you, Mario, thank you so much for your help. It was a pleasure to have you again here on stage. Thank you. And yes, what I just wanted to say is that all the graduates also will receive a gift from Mark Jacobs, one of our Health Tech jury members, and also actually Fit for Start alumni, MPG, might ring a bell to you. And Mark, he's actually co-wrote the book Negotiate Like a Local. So thank you, Mark, for this very kind gesture from your side. And I mean, for the audience, summer holidays are coming up. You're still looking for a book, then maybe this one might be a good fit for you. So thank you, Mark. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are already at the end of our event today. It was such a great pleasure to be here with you today, seeing so many of you. Thank you also to all the people that connected via YouTube and via our live stream. It's always great to see how many people are joining us for this event. And I'm really, really looking forward to the next ones. Hopefully again, also physically, but I think we are on the right track on that side. Of course, don't forget to share, tweet, any experience moments of today's event on the different social media platforms by using also the hashtag Startup Luxembourg. And of course, the Startup Luxembourg platform you have seen today, it is now officially launched. And there, of course, please register, sign up also on the different social media accounts in order to stay up to date and also to see all the exciting news and things that will come up in the future. So that was all I had to say. I will not be any longer between you and, you know, the best part of the event today. Of course, you know what I'm talking about. The cocktail that is waiting outside for us. And therefore, I would say thank you so much to all of you. Enjoy. And my last message just goes to the graduates to come again back on stage again for a big group picture. So thank you to all of you and enjoy. Hello again. So we should be 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2 are missing.